I'm Christian Zilli. I'm a senior pitcher for the Seton Hill baseball team and data analytics major.
For the first question, tell us about how you guys have been able to carry the momentum from last year into this year.
So every year is a different year. There's different players on the teams between the years, and there's kind of a different vibe within the team. But success does leave clues, and so you kind of try and take as much out of last year as you can without making assumptions on this year's team. And so I think a lot of it's good leadership from older guys, and then a nice mix of younger guys stepping up and kind of stepping in where we need them. I think that'll lead to some success for us this year.
Awesome. So tell us about how you guys have been filling in the positions for the 11 seniors who have graduated last year, and how people from all sorts or all sides have been filling those vacuums.
So we lost a lot of our starting pitching. 3 of our 4 starting pitchers from last year graduated. So a little mix of the transfer portal and some guys that maybe were relievers last year or didn't have as big of a role are going to step into those shoes this year and fill the starting pitching spots. And then from a position player standpoint, we've had to shift some guys around in their positions, and then we've had a few young guys really have a great fall and assert themselves for some starting spots in the lineup.
All right. Tell us about your thoughts on the pitching position and who do you think we will be seeing on the mound?
I personally love being a pitcher just because you're in complete control of the game whenever you have the ball. It's a high adrenaline position, and that's kind of what I feed off of. I think in terms of who you'll see out there, I think Ian Korn and John McCullough will be 2 starters that you'll see every weekend. You'll see Zach Herb, Julian Minaya, Matt Blanchard. We've got a ton of guys that are going to come out of the pen. Some will maybe start some games, some will relieve some games, but there will be a mixture in there of guys that will pitch.
Awesome. Any other remarks?
Roll Griffs, baby.
Roll Griffs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Marc Marizzaldi. I'm the head baseball coach, and I will be starting my 22nd season here at Seton Hill.
Awesome. So for our first question here, you guys had a pretty successful season last year, gaining the number 1 seed in the PSAC West. And furthermore, you guys scored number 3 on the preseason polls and number 23 on the D2 national polls. So with that being said, tell us about how you guys are going to maintain this momentum from last season into this one.
Well, to be honest with you, every year is completely different, and I wish some things could carry over, our rankings from last year, our stats, our finish. But one thing we try to stress with our team is each year our team has its own identity. We did have a fantastic year last year, won the PSAC West, went to East Stroudsburg, won the regional, and ended up losing in the super regional. So we were one of the last 16 teams left in the country for the 2nd year in a row, which is awesome. But it's also a little bit bittersweet that, we fell just 1 game away from the World Series 2 years in a row. So I do think there's a little bit of motivation that carries over from last year for the guys that were on the team to, hopefully get one step further and get to carry for the World Series. But, we graduated some guys and brought in some new guys. Certainly we bring some players back, but we're trying to treat each year as its own entity and its own team. And these guys will kind of build their own journey and their own story for 2025.
So you guys have had 11 seniors graduate last year. Tell us about what you guys have been doing to fill in those spaces, whether it be using the people that were already here or possibly some rookies that have been signed on to this year.
Well, the graduating class from last year was one of the best that we've ever had. 2 guys stand out, Owen Sable and Jack Oberdorf. Combined, they played in about 450 games. They pretty much they started on shortstop and third base their entire careers for the last 5 seasons. So anybody that comes to watch the Griffins play this spring, are going to look a little bit different on the left side of the infield. But we have some tremendous players to step into those roles. Joe Fedor, Owen Henney, Owen Mandler, Brady McGuire are some of the infielders that I think will step right in and fill in for Sable and Oberdorf. And we had some tremendous pitchers. We were so spoiled a little bit the last probably 3 or 4 years. Going back to 2021 when we made the World Series, we had a great group of freshman pitchers that came in. One of them decided to come back for his 5th year, John McCullough. But the majority of those guys, Brandon Bergert, Mike Marinchak, and Dino Vecchiola, and Aiden Layton, who was a draft pick of the Athletics last year, those guys all graduated the same year. So we lost a lot of innings. And that's one thing that we're looking at this year, replacing some veteran pitchers on the mound. We have a great group of sophomore and junior pitchers that have been around a few years. They just haven't logged a lot of significant innings, but now is their time, and they've been working really hard the last couple of years for these opportunities. So we have a couple of older guys that may fill kind of starting pitcher positions for us. John McCullough, Ian Korn, maybe Julian Minaya is a transfer who came in. But we're really excited to see these sophomores and juniors and even a couple of freshmen that have been kind of waiting in the wings the last couple of years to step on the mound.
That's awesome. You mentioned the pitching position and how you guys have been spoiled. Tell us about your thoughts on the pitching position and who do you think we'll be seeing on the mound?
Well, we'll give the ball to our seasoned veteran, John McCullough. He'll start game 1 of the season against USC Aiken. And Ian Korn, he's a redshirt junior, so he's been here for 4 years. We'll start him game 2. And then we have a couple of older guys, Matt Blanchard, Julian Minaya, I mentioned. Those 2 guys will probably be in the mix for some starting rotation spots. Luke Deschennes is another guy who's been here for 3 years now, and it's been kind of working, waiting in the wings behind those seniors from last year. He's ready to go as a potential starter for us too. We have another senior that we will probably use in a pretty high profile bullpen spot. Christian Zilli, he's a senior for us. He's pitched in a lot of big games. We like him more as kind of like a closer, late reliever. And then we just have a slew of other guys, that had great falls, have been pitching really good in the wintertime. To be honest with you, they've made our decision as coaches really difficult, which is a good thing. So I feel like we have a lot of options that hopefully we get to use a lot of those pitchers early in the year before PSAC play starts, and we see where everybody fits in the best.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us here.
Yeah,
best of luck.
Thanks a lot, Apollo. I know the weather's hasn't been like baseball weather, but we're going to start to turn here. We play our first 3 weekends in March are all home series here on the Hill, so we're looking forward to seeing all the Griffin fans out there.
So am I.
Thank you.